This is my wife's 1996 Toyota 4Runner. And a couple of months ago, I made a video where I designed and installed a panhard correction kit in this 4Runner. And part of the reason I wanted to do the panhard correction is because the tail end of this thing seems to feel all over the road over bumps. You hit a bump and it kind of and I kind of had a feeling that doing the panhard correction wasn't really going to help that, because while doing the panhard correction, I noticed that some of my link bushings were completely shot. And that is what we're working on today. Well, kind of. We are putting new bushings in it, but they happen to be attached to some brand new heavy-duty links from MaxSpeedingRods. I'm actually very excited about this upgrade because not only do we have this beefy, well, kind of beefy, if you've seen my Tacoma or my pickup, compared to the factory 4Runner links, which I'll show you later, this is beef. We got a heim on one side and the bushing on the other, making this an adjustable link, which can't physically walk out and lose adjustment because there's a bushing. It can't spin in the truck. So with this kit, we have all four upper, lower links, but also we have an adjustable panhard bar, which I guess would be nice if you didn't already have a panhard correction kit. You can just bring the axle back to center with the adjustable panhard bar. It's still better to do a panhard correction kit to get that panhard flat. Another feature that I like is these bushings all have little grease zerk fitting attachments on them so that you can service these a little bit better than the factory Toyota stuff. Let's toss these guys in. Well, I found the very first roadblock when it comes to installing this kit. Look at the size of the mounting surface of the panhard bar with the misalignments in place. And look at the size of the factory one. Clearly this is a lot thinner than what they give you here. I'm not too worried about it. I'm gonna take the misalignment out and I'm going to cut off a significant portion of it and make it the same width as this. So if you're doing this at home, that's probably something you're gonna have to do too. MaxSpeedingRods actually sent me this kit, and as soon as I noticed that, I sent them a message letting them know about this issue, because if you're buying a kit that's supposed to bolt in, you'd think it would bolt in. Hopefully that's something that they fix in the future. Yeah. Another issue that I encountered is the heim joint body didn't actually clear the mount that I made with my panhard drop. However, the fix was easy. I just grabbed my Sawzall and cut out the middle of the bracing just enough for the heim joint to clear. Moving on to installing the links. So these are adjustable, and all I've done is set them to the exact same length that the factory ones were. I've really got no reason to change the wheelbase of the truck. Tire center, right where it was, is right where we want it to be. Even on the lowers here, you can kind of see the difference in beef factor. This one is just so crusty and old, and this just that just looks nicer. Plus it's got some extra bracing over here around the bushing that does not exist on the factory one. And look at just how crusty and disgusting the bushings are in this. So yeah, this should be awesome. The upper link on this kit is really where I think it shines, because look at the factory link compared to this. That is a night and day difference, and this is going to be way stronger. So, it's been a couple weeks since I installed that rear link kit in this 4Runner, and let me tell you, it completely changed how this thing rides. So, before, every time you hit a bump, the rear end would kind of do this. Every time you hit the brakes, the rear end would kind of do this. Every time you accelerated or let off the throttle, the rear end would kind of do this. And now it is absolutely butter smooth. I even took this thing for a highway test, and man, it feels like a completely different vehicle than it has. Oh, there's some geese crossing the road. Oh, cool. I know, it probably shouldn't be a surprise. It had clapped out bushings, it no longer has clapped out bushings, and it drives great. So let's talk about the pros and cons of going with a kit like this MaxSpeedingRods kit, or just getting new OEM links and bushings. The only real con I can think of is heim joints. Heim joints are awesome. They're adjustable. They have a lot more flex in them than a bushing, so in theory, this thing might articulate better in the rear, but what makes them a con is their maintenance. There's nothing really stopping water from getting in between the ball and the casing here of the heim joint, and they rust out, and there's nowhere on these to attach a grease zerk and fill it up with grease every once in a while, and the only thing you can really do to prevent it is to keep feeding it grease. Spray it down with some WD-40 or honey goo or fluid film or something once a month. It's just gonna be a maintenance item. But that's why when setting up the links in the back, I put the heim side up towards the frame. My theory on that is it's just a little bit up higher, out of the way from road salt and stuff during the winter. But the great thing about heims is the fact that they are adjustable. So you can decide for yourself whether it's worth that extra little bit of maintenance to have both your links and your panhard bar be fully adjustable. I think the biggest benefit to this whole kit though is the price. For $300, it would be hard to replace all of the bushings in the back in your stock links. This kit is just really good value, and I mean, you guys see the upper link, it's way stronger than what the factory one is. I think this kit is probably a good buy. If for some reason it ends up crapping out and I end up removing it, I'll be sure to update you guys, make a video on that in the future. Anyways guys, that's about it for this week's episode of Dirt.Garage. If you could do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up button, and hey, consider subscribing. We upload weekly Toyota, building, wheeling, and off-roading content. Anyways, we'll catch you next week. Peace.